clarelife.com here. I wanted to share something else that I've been seeing that I find very interesting. And that is that I realize now in hindsight just how much faith and trust I have put into my own intelligence. Right? I'm smart. And I know I'm smart because I got great grades in school and people told me I'm smart, so that must mean it's true. And because of that, it's led me to believe that my thoughts, my ideas, my opinions are obviously very solid, very reliable, very valid, right? Because I'm smart, and being smart means something. It means that you know how to discern the truth. Well, there's something I've been seeing recently that's kind of thrown a monkey wrench in all of that. And it's along the lines of what a lot of great philosophers through the ages have pointed to, and what a lot of neuroscience and psychology is kind of poking around at. And that is that the human mind is horrifically ill-equipped at sorting fact from fiction. Like, really bad at it. No matter how smart you are, it's kind of not designed to work in the way that we use it, like, in that sense. So that means that when it comes to truth and reality, our thoughts are incredibly fallible. Not only that, and this is a very unscientific way of putting it, when our brains come up against something that it's not sure about or that it doesn't know, quite often it will just make something up to fill in the gaps, then forget that it made it up so that we believe it's true. And I kind of think that it's perhaps a sort of safety mechanism, right? Because there is so much information in existence that our poor little brains couldn't process any of it, like nearly any of it anyway. So it's kind of like it makes shortcuts, which makes sense, right? To avoid overwhelm and just get on with survival, which kind of, it feels like it's kind of, our brains have just adopted the attitude of just, fuck it. Like, just whatever. And I see that sometimes as almost like there's perhaps a quality control checkpoint in our minds where there's like a conveyor belt of thoughts and ideas going through. And maybe somebody's there picking up ideas and going, wait, is this true? But somebody behind is going like, fuck it, we ain't got time. Just roll it out. We got things to do. But what that leads to, though, is that each of our brains is creating its own version of what it sees, its own version of reality. And that makes sense as to why so many of us can't get along. We're literally living in different worlds, in different realities. And then we try to reason or argue with each other about whose version of their made-up world is actually the right one. Well, the answer is none of them. No matter how smart any of us are, all of us are living in a fantasy world of our own design. And when you don't see that, right, when you believe what you're thinking, when you put your faith and trust in your own thoughts for no other reason than you're the one that thought them, well, that leaves you on really shaky ground because your thoughts are entirely fallible. Now, here's the kicker. We don't really have much other choice other than to believe our own thoughts, right? Because as humans, that's how we experience the world, through our thinking, right? So it's like the quality of thoughts that come through that conveyor belt are going to determine what kind of world you see. So if you have fearful thoughts coming through, you're going to live in a fearful world. If you have angry thoughts coming through, you're going to live in an angry world. If you have happy thoughts, you're going to live in a happy world. Well, that world doesn't exist in the way that you think it does. It's your brain mostly misinterpreting information and making shit up. Now, where does that leave us? Right? If we can't trust our own thinking, what do we got? Well, the way I see it, all that we're left with are preferences and opinions. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think you can get through this world beautifully with nothing but preferences and opinions if you don't hang on to them too tightly, right? If you don't fall into the trap of gripping on to the idea that I'm right. because you're not. You can't be. Your brain never has access to enough accurate information for you to ever be undeniably right. Really seeing that is a beautiful thing. There is a wonderful side effect that comes along with holding life more loosely. Things begin to slow down. Life becomes more fluid, right? The sharp edges, they become softer. You, in a way that's hard to describe, you actually find yourself standing on more stable ground, and you are able to take in more without having a whole lot more thinking getting kicked up. To go back to the imaginary person at the conveyor belt who's in charge of thought quality control, it's almost if that person gets more time to look at each thought and go, wait, is this true? Do we really want to roll this out? Right? There's a space that kind of opens up within you that allows you to react less quickly, less aggressively, less fearfully toward the world that you made up. And all of that points me back to, you are the most unreliable person you know. And really seeing that is a great thing. That's all I have for today. I'm curious if you found value in that. Let me know. Type in a comment if that was interesting for you, or if you think it's total crap. I'd be curious to hear that too. If you did find this valuable or interesting, you can find more information on my website, aclearlife.com. That's all I have for today. Until next time, take care.